So a lot of people talk about financial aid and financial aid forms, as well as scholarship opportunities. There's experts on every subject when it comes to the aid packages and the profiles, but a lot of them don't talk much about what happens on the back end. I'm here to tell you that college is a business. College is a business, and you have to understand what you've been offered before you accept it. So not all financial aid is created the same. Not all financial aid is equal. School selection, school selection, school selection. When it comes to financial aid, when it comes to reducing your out-of-pocket expenses for college, the most important thing that you can do is select the right school. We're gonna keep this in alignment with the financial aid topic, need-based financial aid. In the last video, we talked about how do we get to a financial aid number. So for example, you take the cost of attendance or your COA at a specific university, subtract your EFC, your expected family contribution, and then if there's a gap, then you have obviously you have a need. There's a shortfall. Cost of attendance is $20,000. My EFC is $10,000. Therefore, I have a $10,000 need for financial aid. Now, what a lot of families don't understand is that although you have a $10,000 need for financial aid, some schools will meet that need differently. That's the tricky part about school selection and financial aid. So I have a $10,000 need, for example, but the school that I'm looking at may only meet my need by 30%. So they're only going to give me $3 grand of the $10,000 that I need, which means that I still have a shortfall of $7,000. But not to mention that $3,000 may or may not be free money. It may be self-help or loans that I'm going to have to repay or pay back sometime, somewhere down the road in the future, which adds back to my $7,000 or $10,000. Now I'm paying full price, if not more, for that specific university. So I know it's a little confusing. We're going to do a little bit of math. I'm going to give you a couple examples, break it down side by side, two schools, just to give you a good understanding and a visual of what we're talking about. But the goal here is to help you understand that keeping an open mind is very, very important, and school selection is the best way to reduce your out-of-pocket expenses. So we're going to compare two schools. We talked about Duke and TCU, Texas Christian University, in other videos, so we'll just keep it consistent with those two schools. They're both private schools, and we're going to assume that you're an out-of-state student, and mom and dad, you're middle class, and your EFC is going to be $34,000. Your expected family contribution is $34,000. Now that's actually kind of high. So when it comes to Duke and TCU, we're going to go line by line and talk about a few items when it comes to cost and the difference between the two schools. So Duke University, the tuition, this is based on 2016 information. Duke University, the tuition was $50,000, where at TCU, it was $40,000. It's a $10,000 difference, right? So TCU's are go down the line. When you look at room and board, at Duke University, it's about $13,000, where at TCU, it's only about $12,000. TCU is still looking good. Books, let's assume they both are at about $1,000. So all in all, the cost of attendance, just based on these numbers here, as an example, the cost of attendance is $64,000 at Duke and about $53,000 at TCU. So Duke is $11,000 more expensive on paper than TCU. But this is where we're saying you need to go a little bit deeper and get an understanding of what those costs represent and what your opportunity might be at the individual schools. Let's talk about your situation. So we remember your EFC in the beginning we talked about was $34,000, and the cost of attendance at Duke is $64,000. That means you have a $30,000 shortfall, or a $30,000 need for financial aid at Duke. That same $34,000 EFC at TCU, which means that you have about a $19,000 shortfall or a $19,000 need for financial aid. So at Duke University, here's the tricky part. Here's the curveball or the kicker. At Duke University, they'll meet your need at 100%. 100%. Whereas at TCU, they'll only meet your need at 63%. So $100,000 of 100% of $30,000 is still 30,000. Where at TCU, 63% of 19,000 is $12,000, which leaves $7,000 unmet. You're going down a little deeper. Of that $30,000 need that's met at Duke, the 100%, 91% of it is gift aid or free money. So $27,000 at Duke, you don't have to pay back. It's free money, it's gift money. They're giving it to you to attend that university. You never have to repay it. Whereas at TCU, they're only meeting your need at 63%, but of that 63%, 88% of it is gift aid or free money, which means it's only $10,500 of the total $19,000 that you needed, they're giving you as a gift. And then that leaves the difference. At TCU, that leaves you about $1,500 self-help. And at Duke, that's $2,700 in self-help. So self-help is still a form of financial aid, but it's more like loans or something like work study, which we talked about in other videos. So if you add those self-help numbers back to your EFC as well as the unmet need at TCU, that's $7,000 that they didn't meet because they only were willing to give you 63% of the need met. $7,000 unmet, which adds in the $1,500 in self-help for a total of $8,500. That is pretty much on you to pay. You add that $8,000 back to your EFC, which is $34,000, like we talked about a couple of times in the beginning of this example. Now you have a total out-of-pocket cost at TCU of $42,500. I know it's a lot of math, but hopefully you stay with me, and if not, you can replay and go back. But it's $42,500, your total out-of-pocket cost at TCU. Whereas at Duke, they met your need at 100%. Self-help amount was $2,700. You take that $2,700 and add it back to your $34,000 EFC. Now your out-of-pocket cost at Duke is $36,700. So in the beginning, tuition was higher at Duke by $10,000. Cost of attendance was higher at Duke by $11,000 compared to TCU. But in the end, as you go through the numbers, $36,700 is what it's going to cost you at Duke University compared to $42,500 at TCU, which is a $6,000 difference in favor of Duke. So if you were looking at Duke or TCU and cost is really what it boiled down to, you got to do your homework. You got to go a little bit deeper to understand what your true out-of-pocket expenses are going to be. This is why planning is extremely important. School selection is the biggest factor when it comes to reducing your out-of-pocket expenses. And we see a lot of families that choose schools based on the perceived cost without having a true understanding of what it means to them and their opportunity to pay less than sticker price. So our goal is to save you on out-of-pocket costs or expenses for college. We are not the only resource that's out there, but we like to be one of the resources that you use and or pass along to people who may benefit from the information. Please don't forget to subscribe below. If you got a question or you need clarification, or if there's something specifically that you like for us to discuss, please comment below. Subscribe, comment, and share this information with anyone that you feel may benefit from the content. As well as you can visit our website at agradeabovecp.com. And this is Josh with A Grade Above College Planning. Stay tuned for more information. Thank you.